Hello, welcome to the Dream Island Podcast. Thank you for tuning in today. Here with us is a special guest, award-winning filmmaker, founder of Bedford Film Festival, Aguiar. Thank you for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
To start the show, a big debate in the Dream Island building is, would you rather live through an AI takeover or zombie apocalypse?
Neither, but if I had to pick, I think zombie apocalypse would be way easier to manage.
Yeah, definitely. Some people think the other option, which is absurd.
Yeah, they're wrong.
Now, let's get on to with your journey here. What was your first video gig?
I can't remember if it was my first one, but I got into the wedding industry first before going off and getting into business for myself. So I would say it was the wedding industry. And I mean, it is what it is. The wedding industry is, you can learn a lot and it's crazy, but it just wasn't where I wanted to be. So then I decided to go into business for myself.
It's a good option. Just going somewhere you don't want to be and then making your own thing. Right. What person or thing inspired you to make your films?
I mean, I get inspiration from everywhere. I'm a huge fan of movies, obviously. I like good stories. I think what first got me into filming was skateboarding. One of my friends, Tim Lavoie, gave me my first camera, and I was just documenting, all of our friends having a good time, just hanging out, making skate videos, stuff like that. And then just doing that more and more, I slowly realized that I really liked documenting things and telling stories and editing videos and stuff, and it just kind of grew from there.
I was inspired by classic horror films and Marvel movies and stop motions. And when I'm making that stuff, I just think of those whenever I make them.
What's your favorite horror movie?
Probably Halloween.
Nice. Good choice.
What's the process of filmmaking?
My process of filmmaking? I mean, it always starts with a story with me. I choose my projects based off what the story is. There's stories all around us. Even if I'm just making a burger commercial for a restaurant or something like that, there's a story to be told there. So I think it all starts with the story. What's the message that we want to give people? What are we trying to say? And trying to say as much as you can in a little amount of time too. So again, with that burger story example, you can tell the story, which would mainly be hey, these burgers are really good. Come get these burgers. But at the same time, do it in a style and a way that really embodies the client's vibe and essence and everything that they're trying to do. And then from there, it's just think of what you want to think of, the message that you want to give, and then just start crafting the shoot and everything around that. And then, I mean, things change. One of the best pieces of advice I got was, when you're making any video, you're really making 3 videos: the video you think of, the video you shoot, and the video you edit. So just kind of, I try to stay open to that. It's nice to have the story because that keeps a target in mind of what you're trying to say and where you're trying to get to, but how you get there is always changing.
That's a good process. Next question is, how do you get the fundings for your projects?
All right, so there's the commercial side of things that I do, and then the film production side of things that I do. So the commercial, easy. It's clients hire me, pay me for the video. That's how I do it. With that, I try to do 2 things. So either the profit that I make will go into funding personal projects or projects that I don't get as much funding for as I do commercial work, or I try to just maximize the shoot. So for example, I'm doing a video now for DATMA, right? They're doing a public art install this summer. And so everywhere I go, I was just this morning at Voc Tech filming the welding class, and they're welding metal and stuff like that. So I'm already there. I'm getting paid to be there for this project. I'm just shooting as much footage as possible so that I can then use for my director's reel or any other kind of things. I can use for my own personal things, my vlog on YouTube, stuff like that. The other side of things is a little bit harder to fund. So you either fund it with your actual day job. You can go for grants. There's a lot of grants in the city of New Bedford for projects. You can do things like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, all of those online crowdsourcing places. Find investors, find people that are interested. There's always people out there with a lot of money that want to donate and really, believe in the arts and want to support it in some way. So talking with people and trying to figure that stuff out too. And most of the time it's just a conversation you have with somebody. You tell them your idea, they like it, they want to be a part of it. They ask you what you need, you're just upfront and honest with them. I think one of the key things would be like whenever you want to do some project, especially if it's a bigger project and there's a lot of moving parts to it, just really budget out what you would need and make like a wish list budget of like, if I had infinite amount of money, this is where that money would go. And then a more realistic budget, like, to do at least the bare minimum version of what I want to do, this is what I would need. And then just go out there and make it happen. But I mean, the reality is that a lot of this stuff starts off as passion projects where you just got to kind of accept that, I might not see any money from this right away, but it'll give me a good idea and a good like proof of concept that I can then take and try to sell and get funding for either redoing it. It's like with TV shows, a lot they do that. They'll do like the pilot episode, and then if the pilot episode does really well, they try to sell that to a network or a production company or an investor, and if it gets greenlit and they get a budget for it, they'll either redo the pilot episode now that they have the money for it, or they just continue on with it. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways, but I think the most important thing is just get out there and do the stuff that you want to do, because you never know where that'll lead.
Yeah. Personally, when I did make my film, I just got the funding from Dream Out Loud. We didn't really have much money for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of organizations like that too that are always trying to help out. They might not be able to give you enough for your whole budget, but whatever they can give you will definitely help.
The next question is, what was the most challenging project you've made, and how did you overcome it?
I think every project has its challenges. I can't think of one particular like nightmare project besides weddings. Weddings are just crazy. But how I overcome it is just like, I think I already just go into projects knowing that things are going to change. And I think one of the most important skills I learned is how to be resourceful. You're trying to do one thing, you're trying to get a shot done a certain way. You got to like really think on your feet and be able to like make decisions quickly, because things are always changing, so that you can get the shot. Things like weather, like what are we going to do? Sometimes you're scheduling out this thing and you're like, we have all this time outside, and then some freak storm starts or something like that. You just reassess in the moment. All right, what can we get done now? Let's do all this before before it starts really raining, then we'll move inside and stuff like that. So I think, just being resourceful, being open to, not necessarily doing things how you envisioned at first. But really, I guess what I mean to say with that is like, sometimes things aren't going to go according to plan. So when you do have to reassess something, really think about like, all right, I wanted this shot or this scene to go this particular way, but why did I need it to go this particular way? Because then you really start unlocking like what you're really trying to say in that scene. And sometimes you realize like, you know what? It's not important that this scene is outside. We can do this same scene inside, and now we'll have more time to do it, or more like better lighting or whatever it may be. So I think it's just being open to the idea that things aren't necessarily always going to go according to plan, and they're not always going to look like they do in your head, but that doesn't mean that it's not for the better decision in the long run.
Yeah. My probably the hardest project I did was the previous horror movie I did in like December. It was a pain to make that film. We had no script, no nothing for it.
Yeah.
We just kind of rushed it. The last question in this segment, out of all the projects you did, what are you most proud of?
Oh, Love Letters for sure. Love Letters for New Bedford is the best thing I've worked on so far. Not like everything else is a very close second, but Love Letters was just, I mean, it was an amazing project, how it came out, but the experience of the project, making the project, how it evolved from what we first thought it was going to be to what it ended up becoming, and then all the stuff that followed afterwards. I mean, going to, traveling to all these film festivals that Love Letters got into, and then eventually, a year and some change later, making a film festival for New Bedford. And I mean, even still to this day, we're like planning the public launch of it and everything. I'm making vlog episodes about the journey of it and everything. That's 100%. And just the the story that I was able to tell about New Bedford and the creatives in here because of that project, it's definitely been my proudest project.
Most of the projects I do, I'm pretty proud of, but one of them, I'm still working on it, and hopefully I'm really proud of it when it comes out. This is one of the last segments. Is how did you become a successful creator here in Bedford?
That's a wild question. I don't know, man. I just went for it, really. It's like, people always say that cliche thing, you know, I sound like some YouTuber that just like, just go for it and it'll happen. But I mean, it's really true. It's just, I think when you really enjoy what you do, it's different when you work on it. You work harder, you learn more, you sharpen your skills more, you attract more people to it. Like, I think, you know, just following what I thought was cool and not worrying so much about what other people thought I should be doing. Just doing things my way and just really like betting the house on myself, like just believing enough. And it's like every day, every project I go into, I'm just like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't know, why am I even here and stuff like that. And that never goes away. You just got to keep battling that. But I think being able to push through that and just really keep working at the stuff that you want to do and make it happen, I think that's what makes anybody successful, is just keep going. I think people only really fail when they quit. So just don't quit, and who knows, some projects, you know, for you to see the kind of results that you want for a particular project, it might be a couple months, might be a couple years. But if you don't stop, then you don't fail.
How does New Bedford influence your work here?
New Bedford influences my work very heavily. There's a lot of stories here. There's a lot of interesting people here. There's a lot of interesting culture and arts and history and just stories. You know, I like traveling and meeting people and talking with people, but it feels like every day that I'm sparking a conversation with somebody in New Bedford is like a whole new experience. And I think, especially with like love letters, one of the greatest things about that was talking to creatives and seeing how they saw New Bedford, where it was kind of like I was seeing New Bedford through different eyes, different points of views, and it made me like appreciate New Bedford even more than I already do. And I don't know, man. I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, we always say that like New Bedford is different, and we just like it's there's no place like it. And I feel like a lot of places talk like that about their cities, but I know a lot of people that have come here from other cities, and they're just like, oh, once I got here, I knew what you guys are talking about. Like this place really is unlike any other place. And I think that just keeps me inspired and motivated to keep doing that, whether it's projects in New Bedford or outside of New Bedford. I always kind of take the essence and the vibe of New Bedford with me.
Yeah, New Bedford's a special place. How do you get your New Bedford projects like love letters recognized across the world?
I like to tell people all the time that a great opportunity could just be a conversation away. So really just like talk to people. Social media is huge for that. You know, once you're sharing your stuff out there and then you start a conversation with somebody, your passion is really gonna do a lot of the work for you. And then, I mean, there's a lot more traditional routes. There's like, you know, YouTube and social media. Film specifically, entering into film festivals is a great way to get your stuff seen, because not only, you know, if you get accepted into a film festival, not only do you get that prestige of having a project that got accepted into a film festival, but all the people that attend a film festival are there because they love film, they love cinema, they want to talk with people, they want to make connections. It's like, I mean, it's just really a festival. It's a festival of all these like-minded creative people. And of course there's just regular people that want to go there that don't make films, that just want to go and enjoy it and everything. So I think it's a nice way of getting in touch with other filmmakers and creatives, but also getting in touch with the audience that you're creating for. And yeah, that's the best way, is just talk with people. Just put yourself out there, and don't be afraid to post on social media and YouTube and stuff, and just always be talking about your stuff. Like sometimes I feel like I blabber on about all the projects that I'm doing, but it's like, it's what I enjoy. I really enjoy what I do, and I really love all the projects that I work on, so I'm always talking about it. And those things sometimes lead to, you don't know what kind of opportunities those conversations will lead to.
Yeah. What was your process of making the film festival?
Me and a couple partners starting it, coming up with the idea, and then just really assembling a team of like Avengers where we're just all coming together, creating a board so that we can, just really like map it out and plan this event and everything. And then another thing that just kept evolving from there, where once we started thinking about all the things that we could do in terms of the festival, then we started thinking about all the things we could be doing as an organization. So the film festival is one part of it. It's a 4-day festival once a year where we celebrate film and all of that. But the film festival as an organization has really grown into this bigger thing where we're really, have these ambitious plans to level up expand and grow the TV and film capabilities of New Bedford, and really just be that kind of agency in New Bedford, bringing productions in, but also helping people like you that are from the area that want to get a project off the ground, helping you guys get to the resources you need and the right connections you need and the people you need to be able to make that stuff happen and get your work seen. So, the process was just like with any other event. It was planning, talking to venues and creating these partnerships. And I think one of the best things we had working for us was that we worked with a lot of people and organizations that really believe in the long-term vision of it. So they, I'm more interested in creating long-term partnerships than just a short-term kind of like, oh, this might be something cool. I'd rather work with people that can really see the vision of what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Hopefully I can show up one time when you do the film festival. It'll be a really fun time.
For sure.
That's all the questions we have for today. Thank you for joining us again. Thank you for tuning in.